As of June 2025, ChatGPT has 800 million active users, and it makes sense why.
There will come a point where no job is needed. You can have a job if you want to have a job for sort of personal satisfaction.
I think we are heading towards a world where if you want, the AI will just have like unbelievable context on your life and give you these super helpful answers.
New jobs will be created. Some jobs will be lost. Every job will be changed.
AI is helping us become more productive than ever before. We're getting tasks completed faster, writing better content, and solving problems more efficiently. An MIT study showed workers were able to complete professional writing tasks 37% faster on average compared to those not using AI. But what about the impact on us humans? What's happening to our brains when we rely on AI for thinking? And the bigger question is, all of this perfectly orchestrated by one person who has an ulterior motive? Because while we are getting more productive, something is happening to our ability to critically think for ourselves. The AI trap isn't that the technology doesn't work, it's that it works exactly as intended, and it comes at the expense of us, humans. Let me show you exactly how this plays out, because we have been down this road before, and every single time we told ourselves that it would be different, and every single time we were wrong. In the 1970s, when calculators became widespread, teachers said, "Don't worry, students will still learn math fundamentals." The productivity gains were real. Students could solve complex problems faster than ever before. But over the following decades, research documented a massive decline in mental arithmetic skills among university students. Studies in Canada and Northern Ireland found that the speed and the accuracy of students solving basic arithmetic problems declined by 25 to 40% over the last 20 years. Now, in the UK, mean scores on university level mathematical reasoning tests dropped from 53% in 1992 to 41% in 2002. A similar scenario played out with the introduction of the GPS in the early 2000s. Today, everyone has Apple or Google Maps on their phone. Back in the day, you'd have specific GPS navigation devices in your cars. The convenience was undeniable. No more getting lost, no more studying maps, but within a decade, the consequences were real. In 2011, 3 women in Washington followed their GPS down a boat launch and in the lake. In September 2024, a couple in Southern Carolina drove off a marina dock into water after blindly following GPS directions. These aren't isolated incidents. There are multiple verified cases of people literally driving into the water because they trusted their GPS over their own judgment. So clearly, there's a pattern. A new tool is released that makes us more efficient, but at a cost, by destroying our critical thinking skills. That said, does this pattern always hold? Is cognitive decline inevitable when we adopt these tools? There is no better way to answer this than by looking at one group of workers who had to make a choice when the GPS arrived: London taxi drivers. Now, in order to obtain their licenses, they have to undergo incredibly rigorous training. They spend 3 to 4 years, sometimes even decades, memorizing every street, every landmark, and route in a 6-mile radius around central London. We're talking about 26,000 streets, and it literally changes their brains. They use memory techniques, mental visualizations, and pass very difficult examinations where they verbally navigate between any 2 points in London, naming every street in a sequence. MRI scans revealed that as a result of this intense training, their brains permanently changed. The part of the brain responsible for navigation and memory literally grows larger, like a muscle that gets stronger with exercise. Then the GPS arrived, and something fascinating happened. London taxi drivers were left with a choice: either abandon their hard-earned knowledge that took them years to obtain, or just stick with it and carry on. And this created a perfect natural experiment. The drivers who continued using mental navigation maintained their cognitive advantages. They kept their enhanced memory, superior problem-solving abilities, and spatial reasoning that worked in all contexts. But the ones who switched to GPS, well, their brain scans showed a significant cognitive decline, just like everyone else. This proves the use it or lose it principle that I'm sure most of us have been told or have experienced. Your brain is really like a muscle. If you stop exercising it, then it just gets weaker. Now, here is when things take a turn for the worse, because we are facing the exact same dilemma today, except the stakes are infinitely higher this time, higher than they have ever been before. Because AI doesn't just threaten to replace one skill, it can actually replace all of them. MIT recently ran a study with 54 people. They split them into 3 groups: control, GPT-assisted, and human-assisted. The results, well, they were eye-opening. The ChatGPT users consistently underperformed at all levels. Brain scans showed the lowest engagement in the ChatGPT group. By the end of the study, many participants were simply copy and pasting responses without any sort of critical evaluation. But it simply gets worse. Microsoft studied 319 knowledge workers and found that higher confidence in AI was directly associated with less critical thinking. People weren't just outsourcing tasks, they were completely outsourcing judgment itself. So, what's actually happening inside of your brain? When you solve a problem yourself, your brain is like building a road. Every time you think through something, you're strengthening those mental pathways. It's like muscle memory, but for thinking. Now, when AI solves a problem for you, that road never gets built. And the research shows that we're experiencing what scientists call bypassing of deep memory processes. Basically, we're stopping the construction of neural pathways for complex thinking. AI is slowly taking away our ability to form mental models of problems. So we lose our internal framework for understanding how things work. The Microsoft study found that users develop barriers to inspect AI responses, which means that even when people knew that AI was wrong, self-doubt led them to accept outputs by default. And this is exactly what happened to GPS users. They followed the directions straight off a cliff because they lost confidence in their own judgment. Now, you can boil the AI trap down to 4 stages. Stage 1 is what we call efficiency seduction, the bait that reels you in. AI makes tasks easier and faster. You get that dopamine hit from quick results and gradually increase usage across more domains. Stage 2 is skill atrophy. Your brain stops building neural pathways for complex thinking, so you develop barriers to critically evaluating AI responses. Stage 3 is dependency lock-in. You personally lose confidence in your own abilities and can't function without AI assistance. Stage 4 is becoming a human interface for AI. Your role becomes prompt engineering plus basic validation. The AI does the thinking and you just prompt and click around. And that's what brings me to what's really at stake here. What if this isn't an accident? What if the dependency, the cognitive decline, the inability to think without AI assistance, what if all of this was perfectly designed by one man? Sam Altman and OpenAI. They are talking constantly about democratizing intelligence and making AI accessible to everyone. But let's look at the business model. OpenAI runs on a subscription dependency. ChatGPT Plus, API usage, enterprise licenses. The longer we use it, the more dependent that we become, and the more valuable the company gets. It's the classic tech playbook. Create dependency, then monetize it. Just like social media companies like Instagram and TikTok have designed their platform for engagement and addiction. AI tools are engineered for the same thing. And that dopamine hit that you get from a perfect AI response is not by accident, it's intentional. The Microsoft study found that knowledge workers increasingly move from task execution to oversight. We're actually becoming human interfaces for AI systems, and it's perfectly orchestrated by OpenAI. We think that we're using the tool, we think that we are being more productive, and it's great, but the reality is that the tool is training us. Every time we choose the AI response over our own thinking, every time we copy and paste without critical evaluation, every time we lose confidence in our own judgment, we are being conditioned. We are quickly becoming like addicts, searching for the next dopamine hit without even realizing it. And it's getting to the point where we'll end up begging Sam Altman to find an AGI solution, which is AI that can think and act like a human, because we have all rendered essentially useless. And that's the real impact. That's why the stakes are so much higher this time. Before it was calculators or GPS systems, but this is on a completely different scale because our whole brain is being rewired when it comes to problem solving as a whole. Now, in the scenario where Altman does find an AGI solution, he becomes the most powerful person and even entity in the world. Not because he built the best technology, but because he successfully made us depend on it. The more dependent we become, the more valuable OpenAI gets. And it's not really about creating better humans, it's about creating better customers. Customers who can't function without the product. So the question is, how do we break free from this? Well, remember those taxi drivers that I mentioned earlier. We can apply a similar set of principles. The key is building expertise first and then using technology as an amplification rather than a replacement. Think of it like this. You want to be someone who uses AI, not someone who needs AI. And here are some practical steps that I've been following myself. Firstly, implement what I call AI-free zones. Designate days of the week and tasks for pure human thinking. Secondly, always attempt problems yourself first. Think about your approach, and before you even use AI for suggestions, this builds and maintains the cognitive muscle. Thirdly, you want to question everything. When using AI, ask the question of, could I figure this out myself? Fourth, treat cognitive skills like physical fitness. Use it or lose it through regular mental workouts without any sort of AI assistance. Your brain needs exercise just like your body needs exercise. The goal isn't to avoid AI completely. It's to stay in control of AI and ensure it amplifies your existing skills and not replace them. Now look, we have reached a crossroads. AI is the most revolutionary and transformative technology that we have ever seen in our lifetime. And the AI trap is real, but it's not inevitable. The question isn't whether AI will change everything. It will, because we know this. The question is whether you'll be in control when it happens. Do you want to be a human who leverages AI to amplify your skills? Or do you want to become an AI interface that happens to be human and give Sam Altman exactly what he wants?